base. Kuf Nun Ches. And we're talking about
Reis is Samach Yom.
Samach what?
Nun Chet. Kuf Nun Chet.
Oi, Samach Reis?
Ois Samach base. Ja, maar.
Yeah.
Turbulent waters over here. So we're talking about Makif. And we're talking about Makif after the Tzimtzum. Before the Tzimtzum, it's a completely different thing. Before the Tzimtzum, it cannot be identified or referred to as Makif of oilers. Because as we already saw, Makif does not mean something which is remote. But Makif means something that surrounds, that has to do with the Pnimi. There's an effect on it. That's what a Makif. We started giving a kind of a means by which to kind of get an idea of what we're talking about. Makif that has to do with the elements, it doesn't have to do with the elements. So we started saying like this. In our own experiences, we have Makif, we have a house. The house is specifically built to be a Makif for all the things that are in the house. So clearly there is a relationship there. A house is not merely bigger than the table, but in fact it is a Makif for the table. It enables the presence of the table. It gives the table a sense of value. Then this house is present in the many stages over there, in a city.
Second. There's no recording. Can you record?
Yes, it's correct, no?
Yeah, but we need an audio too.
I'm not trying not to do this. That could be my filter will let me else. Let me see. You can do it? To record.
I don't know, phone. Or phone.
Yeah, it's right.
So as we're starting to say, to point out the different levels of Makif. Like we said, Makif does not merely mean something greater than that which is in it. But Makif means that it actually relates to it. It surrounds it and gives it a presence. And using a moshel to demonstrate, to have the idea. So we said like this. Said many times that a table is a table only within a home. Outside of a home, it's a board with 4 legs and can hardly be called a table. It's a certain structure. It becomes a table within the context of a home. So that the home actually creates the concept of a table. This home exists within an environment. You don't build a house outside of a human dwelling context. Like we said, you don't build a home on Mars. That's not a home. A home is yes, it's a structure, but it's a structure meant for human consumption, for human use. There's a human quality to it. Therefore, this structure has to be within an environment that services the human being, that the human being can relate to. And in this area of these different levels of makifim, that are all makifim, but they're all very much different than one another, the home is much closer to the human being. The city is also a makif, which enables the home, but this is already remote. But in a certain sense, there is a relationship. The relationship is manifest in the fact that a city is also planned. A city does not spring up in the wilderness. The city is planned, and the streets where you're going to put the houses are demarcated properly so that every house has an access. So therefore, the whole concept of a city is, as big as it is a service to human use. A different level, but nonetheless it has the concept of being of service.
So when we say makif hakarev versus makif harochik, what is the essential difference between makif hakarev and the makif harochik? From what we've learned, it comes out that everything ultimately is enabler. Even the greatest makif harochik, pamphlet, is enabler, and within it, it has everything already.
You're still coming to it, but whether we'll ever get to it is a question that I'll try to answer. Makif hakarev in the pshat, that as you were participating, as you're doing your thing, you're conscious of the makif. Not only it enabled the creation of it, but you're conscious of the makif.
Is it like your clothing?
What?
Is it like clothing?
No, clothing is
It's like the house of the table, no?
yeah. Clothing is
It's makif.
yeah, but it's not in the it's mislabish. In the cave it has specific forms and all that. And clothing is a different. Makif means something that does not have forms. It encompasses on its level.
But in classic classic mitzvahs so this is talis is makif hakarev and sukkahs is makif harochik. No, I mean.
The term korev and rochik is very relative. Clearly, the talis makif hakarev is not when you say sukkah is makif harochik. Let's start from there. What do we mean by korev and rochik? we're actually jumping the gun because this is going to be discussed, but because we know the terms. What is the meaning of Korev and Rochik? As we said before, the definition of a makif is something that affects the pnimi. In this effect of a pnimi, there are different criteria, but in general, there are two criteria. There is that facilitates the pnimi, but once the pnimi is in place, you're not aware of the makif. The pnimi has its own function completely independent of the makif. Then there is the makif korev that throughout the experience of the pnimi, the makif is recognized.
What's the noise?
So it's mine. Yeah, it is mine. It's alerting me that it's time to go to class.
What a smartphone.
What?
What a smartphone.
It's a little bit odd here, so no.
There's these two types of makif, right?
Yeah. A makif that is intended to be a makif
PALTIEL REBBE.
Yes, I forgot to remember. Who? Oh. Yaini. Hey, listen,
Yeah,
there's no connection.
I didn't get any text. I haven't sent out a link.
Oh. Okay, one
He's
second.
gonna send that.
What?
He's gonna make a link now.
No, he's going to connect now. No, I did not, but I have a got one here. Yaini is going to make the connection now. No. All right, thanks. All right, bye. Baruch Bush is asking, where's the connection?
It's like I've been on here for 15 minutes. Nah, just kidding.
Well, I was asking.
I was going to ask on the way here, but I figured it didn't start yet.
So the makif that we were discussing till now, makif the ak, and we said ak is odom kad, that which precedes world completely. Nonetheless, it has a shachas to world. What is it shachas to world? Shachas to world is that it has an effect on world. The effect that makif of this makif has on the world is a makif kind of effect. Like we said, the effect of makif is a munah. There is a munah and there is chokhmah. Chokhmah is something which world can appreciate, can recognize, can develop. A munah is something which is a grant from above and does not know where it came from. is a direct effect of makif. So the Rebbe says that all that we discussed now is makif de'ak, that despite the fact that it is a makif, but it has a shaykhus harayonos. It has a shaykhus and it has an intentional effect on the world. Its effect on the world is to give the world the makif quality, which results, as we said before, in amunah and the ability of Mesiras Nefesh and so forth. It brings elokus into the world. So this is the madrega of makif, the lower madrega of makif. After it's called odom kav, and we discussed the illusion of odom. Odom means that it contains the various koiches, various qualities. It is not merely a makif remote from existence. It has an odom quality, but not an odom quality that developed within the world, but a kadmon. You know, of odom before there was a world to function as an odom. Because now this is AYIN from Odom, this is why it's reflected in the Shomis, in the form of Amudah, in the form of Mesiras Nefesh, in the form of Ahava B'chomeitcha, and so forth. Okay, at the end of the second one. However, but the other quality of makif also have to be tzimtzum. But this is called the makif tehiri law. Sometimes we're talking tehiri Torah and tehiri law.
Before the tzimtzum, right?
This is after tzimtzum. Tehiro. Let's try and define the terms tehiro. The principle of tehiro, trying to make use of the terms of the names so that it makes an impression, gets an idea of what this is about. The principle of tehiro means purity. What is pure? Pure is something that comes into existence without any effort. Once there's an effort, it cannot be pure, it cannot be perfect. In our example, I always give, maybe, we'll go down to the example. We have the concept of a table, and we have the structure of the table. The concept of the table is perfect. The structure of the table is not necessarily perfect. It could be shaky, it could be not well structured, and where does it stand, and so forth. So tehiro is that which reflects directly the source of sources, that which does not need to be created. Therefore, when you talk about Tehiru, Tehiru in the Lakus, talking about the Lakus as it is from the Lakus perspective. From the Lakus perspective, there is two levels. After the Tzimtzum. So even though the Tzimtzum, and Tzimtzum means that it's now focused towards world, but it's still focused towards world from above, from the Tehira perspective. The lower level of this Tehira is something which has a direct effect on the world. The world senses its presence, and as a result of that, it is affected by it. Then there is the Tehira law. Tehira law means this purity, which is not geared towards world. It is intended to reveal that which is above, the source.
By the way, just to clarify over here, in the beginning of the mimer, it says that it's Bechinas Makif HaKali Lifnei HaTzimtzum. Lifnei HaTzimtzum. And here we say Bivechinas Makif La'ilames Achar Tzimtzum. Meaning, really, it's before the Tzimtzum, but it's Bivechinas. It's tending towards after the Tzimtzum. But really, it's Bechinas Lifnei HaTzimtzum.
I think we're over-dramming the translation word Bechinas.
Yeah, no, it says in the beginning of the mimer. It says right over here.
What did it say?
It says Tehira Elohu Bechinas Makif HaKlali Shalifnei HaTzimtzum. In the first paragraph of the mimer, the third to the last line, and then again he clarifies it. The Rebbe. Yeah.
Let's go through this and we'll get the point.
Okay.
This is the Yiru HaKot Shel Lifnei Hagam Shetehu Gam Ken Bechinas Makiv Le'ilomis Achar HaTzimtzum. Although that this is also in the beginning of Makiv, to world, after the Tzimtzum. If it's after the Tzimtzum means that it is focused on providing a Makiv for world. That's what Tzimtzum is all about. Tzimtzum means to limit the oil, the source, and to give focus and identity to work. Nonetheless, AYIN was a shaychus al ho'ilomis. So this makif, this eagle hagodl, shelifnei hakav, AYIN was a shaychus al ho'ilomis. It's a makif for ailment, but it has no shaychus to work. And from this, there is no effect in any kind of a identifiable manner in the world.
This is perplexing, right? It's
Huh?
Makav Lo'ilamas and it doesn't have Shaykhs to it.
That's right. Okay, so that's why we have to use sort of Mosholim at our level, and then we'll be able to kind of put these words and make sense of it. And yet, these things are self-contradictory. So we started in the general line. We started that in Makifim we have a house, we have a room, we have a house, and we have a neighborhood. The house is not built in no man's land, it's built in a neighborhood. And it's built in a city, and it's built in a country. And all the way beyond that, it's built on earth. Earth itself is also a provider, is also a makif for this house.
Makiv?
Oh, yes, it is. Because if you build a house outside of Earth in a different planet, it's not a house. So it means that Earth it contributes to this house. And this is exactly what we're trying to, what we have focused with now. Earth contributes to the house. But let's step away for a second. What is the difference between one makif and another makif? A makif is a makif. The difference is whether this makif was made with intention to be of service.
To be?
To be of service. The earth was created by the Meibashter to serve, not to be a presence in the world, in no man's land, but to be earth and to provide the services that an earth provides. Like you said many times, the planets, this Mars also has that ability, has that space that you can build a house, but it's not meant for that. It doesn't have that spirit. So here's where we can identify clearly these words from the Rebbe, that on one hand it's a makif, on the other hand it's not shaykhs to that which is a makif.
I'm not getting it. What was the... Where do we see this? In the Mashal, I don't understand.
If you build a house on earth, which is much better than building on Mars, but it's not in an environment. It's not in a city.
In a desert.
In a desert.
Okay.
It's on earth. But it does not really have the criteria to say this is a makif for life, for human life.
So this is a makkah which does not have a shaykhs. This is
That's right. There's no shaykhs to this which it is meant to a service. It's a makif lo ilamis achar hatzimtzum. Ein with a shaykhs lo ilamis. And here's where we need to what?
I have just a quick question. You're saying that this vacuum we're talking about now, this TRE law, is Acher Hatzimtzum?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not saying it. The Rebbe says it in the Maimon. All the difficulties, we have to collect them and then try to focus in and make sense. Okay, it says it's a makif lo ilamis achar hatzimtzum ein lo shaykhos lo ilamis. So I'm trying to give some kind of a means to understand something that is meant for that, but it doesn't have a shaykhus to it. So, in our simple thought process, I thought that the best way is to see it from our own experience. A neighborhood, or even a city, has the spirit that it's meant to serve the human being. And therefore, even though it's a big makif, but it's not a remote. A city is not built just to be there. A city is built so that it be occupied by human beings. Take the next step. A country. A country is meant for human use, but the first thing in a country is to separate it from the rest of the world. It is not for internal consumption. It is to
Build a wall.
to draw it away from everything else, to protect it from intruders. Not that it provides a kind of a usage, an internal usage. So this is meant for world, for consumption, but in the shachas and laylamas.
What's internal use mean?
What?
What does it mean? It's not the borders are not meant to set for are not set
The
for
borders are
internal
not
use.
meant for you to be able to build a house in greater ease. It's not meant for that.
So could you say Tiru law is the expression of the Eibishter in its purity after the Kav? In other words, the expression of the Eibishter as the Eibishter is nothing to do with the
After
world
the Tzimtzum,
after the Tzimtzum.
That's exactly right.
And then Tiru Tata is already a
As
connection, something to do.
As he means to create a world.
Yeah, would you like to repeat that because that one quite too fast.
Tehira ila'a. Tehira ila'a. Yeah, Tara. So Tahira. It's Aramaic. Maybe not.
So after the Tzimtzum, even after the Tzimtzum, there are two criteria. There's after the Tzimtzum, which is meant to reveal and to tell you about the source, that which is before the Tzimtzum. And then after the Tzimtzum, there is which is meant to create a new area, meant for habitation. We're trying to get a handle on it from our simple experiences. Which is really true.
So none of what we're talking about here.
Baruch, you can't do that, Baruch. Please.
I'm sorry.
This is not a private lesson. So there is in Makif itself, in the various levels of Makif, there is a Makif that is meant, that you clearly identify and see, it's meant for bringing it into the Pnimi. And then there's a Makif that it's meant to just to give you a Makif. To tell the world that there is such thing as a Makif. It does not have the direct shachas to the world, but it tells the world that there is such thing as a Makif. that the world should know that there is such thing as a makif already gives the world a sense of stability. But it's not, doesn't give it a worldly sense. A sense of stability, there is something behind it. As I'm saying, there's even a clear kind of means to identify this. You have in the classroom you have a teacher, and then there is the principal of the school. The teacher is the one who has direct effect on the children, the students. But the fact that there is a principal brings to the classroom and to the students a different sense of respect, of stability into this classroom. This is called makivaroch. The principal does not get involved in the day-to-day operation of the classroom and what is being taught and the tests that are given to children. But the principal nonetheless provides a sense of stability to this classroom.
This is what we're learning here. I know the Shaykhas al-Awalamas.
That's right.
What's stability mean?
Stability?
Stability.
Stability means that you're not concerned that this is going to dissipate for no reason at all. And therefore, we are learning what the Rebbe is teaching us. Okay, so that's what we're learning. In the Shachas HaLelomis, Be'elim Shech Mizeh Ha'ora Begil. There is not a Ha'ora, there's not a reflection drawn from this Makif Begilu in any kind of a direct effect. There is an effect, as we can see, as we're going to see, but it doesn't have a gilu. There's no conscious, there's no identifiable effect of this matter in the world. And we said in the other market, there is an identifiable effect, like I said, Amunah and Mesiras Nefesh and so forth. This market, there is none. Begil. There is an effect, and if there were no this market, it would be a completely different situation. But we can identify it from within the world itself. Omnom Yodua. Omnom, however, in truth, Yodua, it is known. The shoyvesh hakelim hu mibchinas hoyem makiv davki. Wow. That the root of the kelim, where is the concept of kelim come from? Here we're not talking about the kelim, the specific kelim, the kelim of chokhmah and kelim bina. We're talking about kelim per se. The shoyvesh of kelim. The shayla that there is such thing as kelim. Who mehoer makiv davki? Who mehoer makiv davki? So we're first getting into it, but to get us a little bit of a hand on this, Kalim, and the Shorish Kalim is for a Makif. Again, coming to a very simple motion level. What is a keli? A keli is that which demarcates a certain aspect of the earth. The most important aspect of the keli is not merely that it demarcates, but that it grasps. It grasps the earth. So that from then on, you can deal with the keli directly. And when you deal with the keli, you have the oil automatically coming with the keli. So again, let's come down, as I said, to our simple environment. The keli is a keli for oil. How is it a keli for oil? If it becomes keli, it completely conceals the oil. Like we have this water in the cup. You can't even tell what's in the cup. You see keli only. So how does the water allow itself to be contained in a keli without protest? What are you talking about? You're putting me in a keli, but I'm losing my self-identity. For this we say that the Sheresh HaKelim is Me'or Makif. That the water in the cup allows itself to go into a cup because it knows that the cup itself is also within an environment that water were there before. But now it's in a cup.
One more time, it knows that what? It knows that
It knows that it remains in the environment that the water was there before. Now it's in a cup.
it feels a continuity even though it's in a
That's
keli.
right. That's right. The continuity and the general context. It did not negate its original status.
And that's because kelim are rooted in.
Because Kalim is working in the market.
Oh, okay.
And the water might object because it's a limitation on its.
That's right, but it doesn't
roughness.
object because you did not really take me away from my original reality. As childish as it is, it's a good marshal.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Louis? Okay. Oh, they're going down 8 o'clock. Well, let me just finish to a point. The dua, we said Makiv is something which is in mortal world, and there's no ha'ora begili from Makiv into the world. Nonetheless, Yodua the Sheresh HaKelim whom Nibchinas for a Makiv Davki. What's a Sheresh HaKelim? Sheresh HaKelim means what enables that there be Kelim. The reason that Kelim is possible is because there's an Ein Makiv. And therefore, the Makif continues to encompass everything, even though it's not now in a cave.
Why not the opposite? The reason that there's kalim is because it's something that counters the makif. It's an expression of makif. I mean, seemingly it's in opposition to Israchus and infinity, but you're saying no.
No, it's not. The meaning of a keli is not to be able to spill the water out. The meaning of a keli is to be able to use the water within the context.
And hence is part of the original bigger project,
That's right.
the infinite project, yeah.
All right.
That's why I guess in physics they land up saying, in physics, right, matter and energy are contiguous, continuous, which was quite a radical
Wow.
realization, right?
Yeah. All right, that's for another time.
Energy and matter,
Matter and energy.
contiguous.
That they're on that they're poles on the same continuum. They're of the same.
The matter comes from the energy, no?
You'll have to get
Well,
Mr. Sher
Matter with the matter.
to the
Matter
spirit,
with
the oil of all this. Right now we are reducing it to the structure.
I don't know.
One thing that can be immediately exposed in this, not for long discussion, the emersive presence of Elokus in the world is a mitzvahs ma'asos. Why is it there? Mitzvahs ma'asos. Mitzvahs ma'asos, this is where there is a cognizance that there is in fact a melech in the world. And how you do things makes a difference. Also how you do it.
What's the connection?
The makif goes all the way and labels all the way down to the lowest level.
That's what I want to ask you about. That's what I want to ask you about it, but I guess we need to leave it for after davening. You're speaking about the chitas of.
What?
You're speaking about chitas of the last couple of days.
No.
That's what I want to ask you.
Oh, yeah.
But after, I guess we need to leave it for after davening. I don't understand. His question is a l'chayra black and white steer.
L'chayra, but it says here bechinas, here it says
What's
bibechinas.
bechinas? I don't know the bechinas. No, here he says, "Tira Elohu bechinas makiv haklali shofnei atzimtzum." And over here we said that is this makiv? Is this this is tzimtzum nishun? Could that be that? I don't know. It's just confusing it.
Okay.
He's saying it's like.
Yeah, this is like a.
And now we said just opposite.
After it. And the end from Tiri Log.
Okay, it's 9 o'clock. Okay, that's all. Let's go.
That's after
Let's
the.
go. Take Kaddish now.
Not the words Kaddish now, the actual Kaddish.
Take Kaddish now. They don't care.